Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Sabrina from the blog Held Fast Home, where I share house crafting projects, food from scratch recipes, and our road to slow living on less than a quarter acre. Today I'm sharing 3 from scratch recipes that are staples in our house, especially when it comes to whipping up a quick snack. Our first recipe is no-bake granola. Granolas are so easy to whip up yourself at home, and the unique ingredient in this one is popped amaranth. Amaranth is a grain-like seed. Here is a close-up of raw amaranth, and here is a close-up of the pseudo cereal once it's popped. To walk you quickly through the popping process, it's very similar to making stovetop popcorn, except I do not use any oil or fat on the bottom of the pan. Working with 1/2 to 1 tablespoon at a time, layer the amaranth in a small pan over medium-high heat. Once the kernels start popping, shimmy the pan to distribute the grains so that they don't get burned. Once your amaranth has popped, which should take no longer than a minute, melt 1/4 to 1/3 cup of butter in a small pot over low heat and add a 1/4 cup of honey or maple syrup. Remove the pot from heat and stir in 1½ cups of rolled oats, 1/3 cup of shredded coconut, 1/3 cup of popped amaranth, and 1/2 cup of pepitas. At the last minute, I decided to roughly chop my pepitas. When chopping these seeds, a quick tip, sometimes they can get flicked around, so I like to keep my hand that isn't controlling the handle of the knife open along the top of the blade so that most flying seeds can be deflected back to the cutting board. Once everything is mixed together, you'll see that we have a loose mix granola, which is exactly what I'm looking for. Transfer this mixture to a container and it's ready for immediate use. I prefer to store this in the fridge. Our go-to afternoon snack is some homemade yogurt, frozen blueberries, and this no-bake granola. Moving on to the best homemade roasted peanut butter. Start by measuring out 4 cups of raw Spanish almonds with the skins on. I purchased my peanuts from Azure Standard. I also just realized all of my granola ingredients were also from Azure Standard. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Then, in a small pot on the stove, melt together 2 tablespoons of butter and 2 tablespoons of maple syrup or honey. We've been loving the maple version, so that's what I'm using today, but the honey recipe is on my blog. Add in your peanuts and stir to coat in the mixture. Line a 9 by 13 inch baking dish with parchment paper and spread the peanut mixture evenly across the dish. Roast for 20 to 25 minutes, making sure to stir the peanuts at the halfway point. You could leave these candied peanuts as is. My family likes to grab a handful as we come and go from the kitchen throughout the day. I prefer to let the peanuts cool completely before blending them into peanut butter. We go for a creamy yet rough texture for our peanut butter. It spreads well over toast, but still gives that crunchy satisfaction. This recipe is seriously phenomenal. It is so much better than store-bought peanut butter, and if I had to encourage you to make one recipe from this video, it would be this one. Our final from-scratch recipe that doubles as more than just a snack for us is homemade yogurt. At the end of my Aldi haul a few months back, I shared how I incubate yogurt in a cooler, but I further refined this method thanks to conversations with my sister-in-law and thought I'd share. Instead of pouring the milk into a 5-quart pot to bring the milk to 180 degrees Fahrenheit and then decanting it into my jars, I create a kind of water bath in my 5-quart pot and bring the milk to temperature in the vessels that the yogurt will end up in. So I put a rack at the bottom of my pot to protect my jars. Then I filled 2-quart jars with milk and placed them in the pot, making sure that the water level rose at least halfway up the jar. I set the burner to medium-high heat and waited for the milk to come to 180 degrees Fahrenheit. Once the milk reaches temperature, remove the jars from heat and allow to cool until the temp ranges between 120 and 125 degrees Fahrenheit. Now it's safe to add the starter yogurt culture. I'm just using some yogurt from our previous batch. I'm placing roughly 2 tablespoons in each quart jar and whisking the mixture until smooth. With lids in place, transfer the jars into the cooler, running the hottest water you can from the sink. Fill the cooler until the water line is halfway to 2/3 up the jar. Cover the cooler and let the yogurt incubate inside it for 12 to 24 hours. We tend to lean more towards 20 to 24 hours. If you prefer a thick Greek-style yogurt, simply strain these 2 quarts and you'll get about a quart of Greek yogurt. This yogurt is such a staple for us, not just to be used as a snack with granola, but we substitute it for sour cream and eggs in baking recipes, and it's the base of many of our dressings and dips. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time.